Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got another cut file project featuring a new scrapbook.com cut file. It's called Calendar, and it will create all sorts of calendars for scrapbooks and travel journals, planners, things like that. But you can also tear it apart and use it for other projects like I did in this card. So let's take a quick look at the what comes with the cut files. So you'll get a grid and some frames and all the numbers that you need to do calendars. And these all come separate, so you can mix and match them in your projects. At first I wasn't sure what I was going to do with a cut file, but I started to look at other products that I have in my stash, and I thought, you know, I bet I could make a really cool masculine card for a teenager, and why not make it a 16th birthday card for a boy, and pull in some stenciling and another stamp set, and really make something that's pretty darn cool. So I decided on this shaker card, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So I thought I'd shorten the timeline today by starting with a piece of blended cardstock. I used the scrapbook.com surfboard and postal blue, so surfboard in the center and then worked out to postal blue, and then I have midnight blue on the outside. So I know you've seen me do ink blending before. It's nothing different. I'm using the scrapbook.com domed blenders and they work really great. So the next step would be to add in that herringbone pattern that kind of peeks out. And I love that. It's kind of a tone on tone. It's not really punching you in the face, but you can tell it's there and it really adds some great texture. So I'm going to use that same midnight blue with a foam blender, and I'm going to work from the outside in, and I'm doing this very lightly. So sometimes I like to hold the blender down towards the neck here, so that way I have a little bit more control. And I don't have to worry about getting too much ink all over the place. So I'm going right over the center, and this is where you're going to see it the most, but you are going to see it on the outside, which is pretty cool. And believe it or not, that is enough to get the effect that I'm looking for. So you can see that blue just went right over. It even went over the existing blue. It looks really awesome, and when it dries, it's going to blend in really nice. Actually, it already has. So it's that simple. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add in some spray. I'm going to do just some spatters of gold. This is Altenews Antique Gold. So kind of a galaxy, if you will. And then I'll be using the Picket Fence spray stain from Ranger. And this time I decided to spray with the stencil taken off. When I did the original sample, you can see I still had the stencil on and some of the white grabbed into the stencil. So I wanted to avoid that this time. It doesn't look bad, but it wasn't the look I was going for. So I took the stencil off and then just went ahead and spritzed on top of it. So now I need to go ahead and let this dry, and then I can put it into my silhouette cameo and go ahead and cut out the cut file. Okay, so I have finished cutting out my cut file, and to take it off of the cut sheet, I use some Glad Press and Seal, and that works really well to keep everything together, especially when you have all these little pieces for the numbers. Even if they don't come off with the press and seal, you can go ahead and just add them back in, and they stay right in place. So the first thing that I need to do is to add a piece of clear acetate, so I can create the shaker card part. So this is just cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the nice thing about this is I don't need to necessarily get into the numbers if I don't want to. I am going to, though, because I want to get these little pieces, of course, and make sure that they stick. So I'm going to get just some of these little spots, make sure I'm getting all these little individual center pieces. But these little pieces, like in the 3 that curve up and down, it's nice to get a little bit of extra adhesive on them so that way they stick down and they don't get caught on anything when people are looking at your card. So I need to do that, and I'll get the 16 here. I don't want too much because I don't want it to flow out, but I think I got all of them. And now I'm just going to go ahead and go around the outside here. And there we go. And believe it or not, this Tombow multi will stick to the acetate and it will dry pretty quick. So get that in place. Press everything down. And in just a minute, it will be dry enough for me to be able to flip this over. Okay, now that this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and I can pull off my press and seal and see how nice that works. Oops. Just grabbed a little bit of the one here. There we go. So now I have the beautiful beginnings of a shaker card. And before I get too far into adding the foam and everything, I want to go ahead and add in my sentiment. So we talked about this being a birthday card. So I'm going to grab happy and birthday. And this is a really nice set. It comes with both script and sans serif. And it's really nice, so that way you can mix and match them. You can use them for all sorts of different occasions and for different people, just depending on what they might like. So I am going to just use a stamp block today. I know, right? Everyone's always using their stamp positioner, but you know what? Stamp block still works great. And these ones from scrapbook.com are awesome because they have the lines on them that help you make sure that everything is aligned perfectly. So grab some anti-static powder, and I'll be using some clear embossing ink. And then just go ahead and stamp the sky. And then we can add some gold embossing powder. See, no worries. So go ahead and heat this up and then we can go ahead and build the shaker and we'll be done. All right, so now it's time to build a shaker, and I have a little bit of an exclusive here. This is brand new to scrapbook.com. This is their premium foam adhesive. They have an entire line of foam adhesive. These 1/8 inch strips are great for shaker cards. They have 1-inch strips, or 1-inch rolls, 2-inch rolls, 1/4-inch rolls, and pieces of foam, just square pieces with double-sided adhesive on it, and little glue dot type things. I am really, really excited that they are adding this to their line. And the thing that I like about it is that this foam it's nice and thick, but it's also very pliable. So I'm just going to take one of these strips here and just add it on. And you can see that I can move it in any way that I want. So it sticks really well, and I can just kind of guide it however I want. And then I can just kind of snap it right off with my finger there, which I think is great too. So there we go. I've got that on that side, and then I'll just use this little extra piece to get around the edge here. And start around the edge here. Of course, we have to remember to make sure that all of the edges are covered, so that way the shaker contents don't go all over the place. And then I'll come up the other side. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is because then I don't have to worry about filling my shaker with extra. If I just made this whole thing a shaker card, the whole square piece, then I'd have to put a lot of shaker contents in there, and it's kind of a waste. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a small little window for these guys for that all to fit into. So just grab a little piece here to close it off. Oops. And make sure that it doesn't get so close that you can see through on the other side. But there we go. So that's all I really need to do for that. And then what I'm going to do while I'm at it, because I'm going to need to do this anyway, is just add some more around the edges. So when I put my backing on, it has something to stick to, and then the whole thing is nice and rigid. Okay, so this is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and add in some sequin mix from Catherine Pooler. This is Vegas Baby. And this is just a fun gold, clear, and iridescent mix. Make sure all my guys are off the foam, and then I'm just going to take a piece of backing. This is just another piece of white cardstock, and use that to smush everything in place. And there we go. Now I have my shaker, and all I have to do is add some glue on this back panel here and line it up, and this card is done. There we go. See, a fun shaker card. Perfect for the 16-year-old in your life. I hope you enjoyed seeing another creative way that you can use the scrapbook.com cut files. They really are a lot of fun to use. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you really liked this video. I love to see your comments too. Tell me what you think about today's project and what you'd like to see me try next. I will be back with another video soon, but until next time, happy crafting.